hoping that everybody is doing well. Baruch Hashem, my voice is somewhat recovered, not entirely so, but I hope it doesn't sound as terrible as it did yesterday. And because of that, Baruch Hashem, we are going to catch up from yesterday and today, Erev Shabbos, so that we can continue by Hashem Yisbarach on Shabbos with everything up to date. And we are continuing with the Gemara on Mem Hey Amud Beis. Mem Hey Amud Beis with the Gemara quoting from the Mishnah. I'd mentioned that there are two ways of learning this Mishnah. Either you learn the Mishnah that if you have a kazais worth of chametz that it fills in a crack, that is enough to not have to destroy it on Pesach because now it's part of the kli. Or once you have a kazais, even if it falls in a crack, there is no way to have that around on Pesach. You have to destroy that on Pesach. And then we saw two brises that supported each of these approaches. And the Gemara then suggests 4 lines down from the top of Memhem Beis Kashana Dadi that this is a inherent contradiction. Amar Ravuna says, "Sami kilsa mikami chamirta." Get rid of the lenient opinion and keep the stringent opinion that so long as you have a kazayis, you would have to destroy it. Says the Gemara. Rav Yosef attacks this. He says, "I don't understand." Rav Yosef says, "Tanai shakal demalbu." You just destroyed machlokes tanaim. There's a difference of opinions and how to understand this Mishnah, who says that one of them is wrong and one of them is right, and that this is both the same opinion and therefore there's an inconsistency and an incorrect version of the brisa. Tonight, this is a bona fide, verified machlokes tanaim. The Tanya, because we have a brisa that says as follows: Hapas she'ifsha. If you have bread that became moldy, chayv levar, you would have to destroy that on Pesach, in advance of Pesach. Because you would be able to take it and grind it up and turn it into yeast. I think maybe they call that dry yeast, right? You could grind it up, use that fine powder in order to make it into yeast. Rabbi Shimon says, "But where do you say such a din? If it's kept around, when it's kept around for eating. But if you put a block of sa'ar, you have a block of yeast, that you turn into a stool. Batla, now it's already batal. And once you turn the flour into furniture, now it's going to be batal. This would be like the same question with Play-Doh. Play-Doh, once you turn it into a toy, nobody's going to eat it ever again. You're not going to turn it into something else for edible purposes. Amar Rabbi Shimon Elazar, since Rabbi Shimon Elazar says, Batla, it has become batal. Michlal, the Tanakam Samalai Batla, it means that the Tanakam is of the opinion that it has not become batal. Al Makasava called Kazais, it means that he holds that every Kazais, Afal Gav, the Mibatal, batal, even if he nullifies it, it's not going to be nullified. Meaning, it needs to be fundamentally destroyed. Bittul wouldn't help. The chumrah of the statement is that if a person says batal, it doesn't help. Doesn't help. Bittul chametz doesn't help. It would need to be destroyed. Amarle Abaya says teratz because you explained the contradiction here with regards to a kazais, where there is the volume of a kazais, pachos mi kazais mi teratzta. But then you haven't explained the machlokes tanaim with regards to less than a kazais, because there were two dinner here. One was that more than a kazais, you always have to destroy according to the strict opinion. But the lenient opinion holds that if it's less than a kazais, you would never need to get rid of it. If it's filling in the cracks of, even if it's not filling in the cracks of the bowl. So he says, Ella Havahar Rabbi Shimon Lazar. No, you have to understand that all of this is the opinion of Rabbi Shimon ben Lazar, V'loi kasha, and there is no machlokes, there's no discrepancy. Habamakim lisha, hashaloi b'makim lisha. There is a difference depending on where the dough is. Is it in a place of kneading or is it not in a place of kneading? Meaning, where is the crack that this is filling? Where is the dough stuck in the bowl? Now, what is that? What does that help you? Says Rashi, Masnisin Basraisa Lo Yikari Makom She'ein Os Lechazik Ela Makom She'einoi Makom Lishaklal. Where the brisa, the second reading of the brisa to be lenient, is not talking about where there is no crack. It means that it just happened to be stuck in a place that is never going to be used to knead dough. Could go in Safel Yonah, like there's a little piece of dough stuck at the top lip of the bowl. Aval defanis koremakim also lechazik. But if it would be on the walls of the kli, says Rashi, that's called the makim also lechazik. Even if there's no crack, it would be strengthening the bowl, meaning the bowl has got a caked on layer of something that strengthens the bowl. V'kamaisa kori af b'defanis, and the first price is talking about even the walls of the kneading bowl. She'ein also lechazik, where there is no need to be mechatzik, even though it is in a place that you would be kneading the dough. And the place that you would be needing some strengthening, that's called shulaim. That's called the outskirts. It says v'achi, and this is how you read it. The Tanakama is talking about in a place that needs strengthening. Like the sides of the bowl that get the water. I feel kazais ain't over. Even if it would be a kazais, you would not be violating anything. But a place that doesn't need strengthening, the funnels, like the walls of the kli. The magam lishu, that's a place of kneading. V'lav magam mayim, and it wouldn't be a place of where there's water. The chaytz is for over, meaning that's where it would create a chatzitza, and you would violate on Pesach. Upachas min kazayis, and less than kazayis. B'tefanas nami and chaytzitz, even if it would be in the walls, it would be less than kazayis. It's not going to do anything. Kevan de mehani purta lechazik, because it would help a little bit for strengthening purposes. Effectively, what Abai is suggesting here is there's all the opinion of Rabbi Shimon Lazar, and it depends on where the dough is stuck. Amar Rashi says, don't say that the place that is not a place of kneading means agavad de agna, means on the other side of the bowl. He says, Ella. Sifta da'agna, it means even on the lip of the bowl. Pshita, that's obvious. And what would you have said? Zilna da'atif umasi lahasam, because sometimes it splashes and it reaches there. So the rim is also considered to be like a place of kneading, and therefore you would say that it needs to be removed. Any chametz needs to be removed, even if it is less than the size of a kazais. Kamash malan, that what this understanding of the Brisa of the Mishnah is teaching you is that even if you have dough stuck at the lip of the bowl, that would be okay. You don't need to get rid of that. Because it's also lechazik. Amar of Nachman says of Nachman, Amar Rav in the name of Rav Halach, Rabbi Shimon Lazar. We pass on like this opinion of Rabbi Shimon Lazar. Says the Gemara, hold up a second. Is this really true? Vaha Amar Rav Yitzchak Bar Ashi Amar Rav. Didn't Rav Yitzchak Bar Ashi say in the name of Rav? Im tach bana batit. If you plastered your yeast with some kind of clay, some kind of tar, batla, then it's already batal. Tach in loy tach loy means if you plastered it, you did something that made it impossible to use. Now it's mutar to keep around in Pesach. Loy tach loy, and if you didn't plaster it, then you would have to destroy it. Man demasiha masniha, the one that taught this din of Rav didn't teach that din of Rav, meaning there's two opposing ways of understanding Rav. And Iga de Amri, there are those that say Amar Rav Nachman and Amar Rav, that Rav Nachman said in the name of Rav. Ein halacha Rav Shimon Lazar. We don't pass on Rav Shimon Lazar. The Amar of Yitzchak Bar Ashi, Amar Rav says Rav Yitzchak Bar Ashi in the name of Rav. Im tach paneh batit batla. If you cover it with clay, with tar, then it's butter, etc. Amar of Nachman, Amar Shmuel says Rav Nachman in the name of Shmuel, not the opinion of Rav. Shnei chatzai zeisim. What happens if you have two chatzai zeisim, two pots that are chatzi zayis, meaning they're not a full kazayis of chametz. Vechut shel betzek benehem, and there's a little strand of dough in between, and that got stuck onto the walls of the bowl. Says the Gemara. Rain kol sheilu Yinat al chut, we look at as if you would have picked up the chut, you picked up the thread of chametz, and the dough would come with it, then we consider it to be two pieces of dough that are connected. It's one kazais. In those cases, that would say you have to get rid of it. V'im lav, and if not, then you don't have to destroy them. Amar Ula says, we only say this with regards to if it is in the kneading bowl itself. Aval babayis, but if it is in the house, you'd have to get rid of it. My timer, what's the reason? The zilman the kanishlahu navli gabe hadadi, because maybe you'd sweep them up together and then they join together, they get stuck together, and now you have a kazais of chametz sitting in your house. Amar Ula says Ula. They also ask question in Eretz Yisrael. What if you have two pieces of chametz connected, but one is in the bais, one is in the house, and one is in the aliyah, one is in the attic? Bais v'achsadrima. What if one is in the house and one is on the porch? Shnei batim zelif nimizeh, or one room inside of another room, right? One is in the closet, one is outside. So teiku. Says the Gemara, we don't have an answer to those questions. Meaning, do we need to be concerned that you'd sweep those two things together to join it together to a full kazayis? Says the Gemara, we don't know the answer. Tan Rabban, we have a brisa that teaches as follows: Hapas she'ivsha, you have moldy bread, v'nifsala milachal odam, and now it is inedible to people. Va'kelev yachal ha'ochlo, but your dog can't eat it. Metame tumas oichlin b'kebetza. It is going to cause tumas oichlin so long as it has the amount not of an olive but of an egg. And it could be burnt together with something that's tameh on Pesach. Mishum Rav Nasan Amr, and they said in the name of Rav Nasan, it does not become tameh, cannot become tuma, cannot contract tumas oichlin. The Pasha says that the Bryce is talking about if it was truma tmeah, because that's where you would have the din of putting it together with something tameh to burn for Erev Pesach. But the same din would be true with all the other dinim with regards to a kibetza of pas that became moldy. Ask the Gemara as follows: Kaman azlaha, whose opinion is it? Whose opinion amongst the Tanaim that taught? This is the general rule about taras. Anything that is set aside to be eaten by people, tameh, becomes tameh, until it can no longer be eaten by a dog. Meaning, once it is human food, it can become tameh until it is no longer dog food, not even dog food. So we say, come on, whose opinion is this? The like Reb Nasan. This is not the opinion of Reb Nasan. Tana Rabban, the Rabban told in the Brisa, Arevas Avdanim. If you have an areva of Avdanim are leather tanners, that you put flour into it. Within 3 days of Pesach, you would have to destroy it because it's still flour and became chametz. If it is before 3 days. Before Pesach, meaning a week before Pesach, because you don't have to destroy it by Pesach, because since you put it in a tanning trough, we for sure know that it's going to be disgusting. So Amar Rav Nasan says, where do you say this din? That is, if you didn't put in the hides of the animals together with it, meaning it seems to be that part of the tanning process, they would put flour into it, probably to make sure that it didn't stick or to help with the chemical process of tanning. But if you put flour there 3 days before Pesach without any skin, says Reb Nasan, that's where you have the din that you have to get rid of it before Pesach. But if you put skins into it, it's going to be gross. For sure not. For sure not going to be an issue. You didn't put iris into it. But if you put leather into it, pre-leather, animal hides into it, I feel even if it is within 3 days, you don't have to destroy it at all, because it's disgusting. Amar Rava says, we pass it like Reb Nasan, and he says, afilu Yomi echad, even if it's flour, which was good for human consumption, afilu Yomi echad, even if it is 1 day, afilu sha'a achas, even if it is 1 hour. V'chein le'inyan tuma. And then the Mishnah told us the same thing is true with regards to tuma. If you care about it, being there, it's going to create some kind of impasse with regard to tuma. And if you wanted to stay there, then it has the same din as the bowl. And now the Gemara is going to try to figure out what din are we talking about here. Says the Gemara, meet dummy. Why is these two dinim related? There at the beginning of the Mishnah, we said it's all about whether there's a kazais or not a kazais. Now we start talking about whether or not you care about it being there. Since when is that the shear? Says the Gemara, Amar Rabbi Yehuda, says Rabbi Yehuda, Ema ula inyan tumah, Ena ken. So says Rabbi Yehuda, Ema. We should say, with regards to tumah, it's not like that. With regards to tumah, that's not the din. Says the Gemara, hold up a second. I'm going to buy. What do you mean when it comes to tumah, it's not like that? The Mishnah said, this is the din with regards to tumah. What do you mean it's not the din by tumah? Ela Amar Abaye says, this is what we're talking about. What we are talking about is regarding combining things with regards for tumah on Pesach. What does this mean? So Rashi says, like we're going to explain going forward, that on Pesach we care about the shear of how much is there with regards to whether or not it's chaytzitz for tumah. With regards to the rest of the year, there is a difference. What do we mean by this? It means if there is less than the amount of food, if there's less than a kibetza of food, that touch this dough on Pesach, that as a result of the isur of chametz and Pesach, this little bit of dough is going to create, is going to be able to combine with something else in order to be metame. The rest of the year, we don't care about the amount, we care about whether or not you care about it being there. If you care about it being there, then it's mitzaref. Then it could join together to create tumah. If you wanted to stay there, if you wanted to fill in the crack in your bowl, then but if you wanted to be there, meaning you wanted to be part of the bowl, then it's part of the bowl, and it's not going to be mitzaref for tumah. Meaning, one of two things is going to make a piece of dough chashuv. Either that you don't want it to be there, you want to clean it off. It means you hold that this is a piece of dough that is bothersome to you. So if it touches another piece of dough, it could join together for the sake of tumah. But during the rest of the year, and that's because on Pesach, during the rest of the year, if you cared about it, then it's considered a thing. If you don't care about it, it's not a thing. But on Pesach, the Torah says it's a thing. You don't have the right to say, I don't care about it being there. The Torah says you have to care about it being there. Matskif Rava Tax Abai says, I don't understand. Mikidani mitztarif, who says that this is a din of being mitztarif to make it one shear for Tumah. Hachaitzitz ktani. The Mishnah said the opposite. The Mishnah says that this breaks up for the sake of Tumah. Chaitzitz, that it somehow breaks it up, it interposes for tumah. Ela Amar Rava says, "V'chein lahalas tara le'areva," to join together tahara le'areva with regards to purifying it. That's when it's considered to be like the areva. Heichidami, like the bowl. Heichidami, what's the din? Kegoin deitmi, if it became tameh. Hach areva, this bowl on uvaylet vuli bepesach, and you want to tovel it, you want to make it tahar on Pesach. The Isur Chashuv, where the Isur of Chametz is Chashuv. Chaitzit, that little bit of Chametz is going to be Chaitzit, is going to make it impossible for you to dunk it in the mikveh. V'lo yisal la tvila, and the mikveh is not going to help because that little piece of chametz is sticking there, and the Torah says you have to destroy it. B'shari Moshe Shana, the rest of the year, but compared to Talim Milsa, it doesn't make a difference so much as long as you don't care. Meaning, if you don't care that there's a little bit of chametz stuck to your bowl, there's a little bit of dough stuck to your bowl, then you can tovel it. Meaning, you don't care to clean it. You have this from time to time. How many stickers do you have to peel off before you can tovel something? So the question is, if you would serve it on the table with that sticker there, then you are not makbid on it. You don't care about it. So then it's not chotzes b'fnei ha'tvila. You don't have to care to remove it before you tovel it. But if you would never serve it on the table with the sticker there, then you have to remove the sticker. That's what Rav is saying. If you care about that chametz being there, chotzes, that's when you cannot tovel with it there. And if you wanted to stay there, you bedafka wanted to stay there, now it has the din of the bowl, and you'd be able to tovel it. Maskiv law Rav Papa attacks it. He says, hold up a second. Mi kitani b'chein in tahara. Didn't say for the sake of being mitaheret. Didn't say for the sake of purifying it. Hala inyan tuma kitani. The Mishnah said that this is a din for the sake of tuma. What does it mean, the sake of tuma? Ela Amar Papa says, I'll tell you what the Mishnah is saying. V'chein inyan lahorid tuma la'areva. It's whether or not this areva, this bowl, would become tummy. What do you mean that it's going to become tummy? Hey chidami, how do you have such a din of it becoming tummy? If you have a creepy crawly, a dead lizard that touched the little piece of dough. Pesach, if it's Pesach, the isur chashuv, that the isur, that there's a little piece of dough is chashuv, and you needed to get rid of it. Chaytzit, that's when it would be chaytzit. It would break up. The sheretz didn't touch the bowl; he touched the isur, because this isur has its own separate identity. So the sheretz didn't touch the bowl; it touched the piece of dough. And the bowl is still tahar. B'shari Masashana, by the rest of the year, it depends on whether or not you care about that dough being there. If you care about it being there, then it'll break up, and then the sheretz only touched the thing that the dirt that's on the bowl, not the bowl. But if you wanted to stay there, then it's like the bowl itself, and it would all become tummy. Okay, says the Mishnah. The next Mishnah in the middle of Mem Vav and Aleph. If you have deaf dough, what is deaf dough? Deaf dough is dough that you don't know if it became chametz or not. Says Rashi, it is started becoming smooth, but it doesn't yet have the little spider web things that tell you, the little spider cracks within the dough that tell you that it is actually chametz. Says the Mishnah, if there is other dough next to it that was needed at the same time that you can clearly see it became chametz, that's now called chametz. Says the Gemara, hold up a second. That's good and well if you have another piece of dough next to it that you can figure it out. What if you don't? Amar Rabbi Abau says, Rabbi Abau, Amar Rabbi Shimon Lakish, in the name of Rabbi Shimon Lakish, Kadesh Yelech Adam, Migdal Nunya Letveria Mil. How long does it take for something to become chametz? The amount of time that it takes for a person to walk from Migdal Nunya to Tveria, which is a mil. That's 1 mil, which the Pesachim assume is about 18 minutes. Says the Gemara, v'neim a mil. So then don't give me directions, just tell me a mil. Now, hakamash malan, we are teaching this din as well. The shi'ur de mil, that the amount that's called a mil is the walk from Migdal Nunya to Tveria. Amar Rabbi Abau says, Rabbi Abau, Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish, in the name of Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish, le'gaval u'letfila u'letila sedayim, arba mil. Dinim that you need to know how long a mil is, for the sake of knowing arba milin, is for a gaval, that is for a professional kneader of dough that is going to tovel his kelim. How long does he have to walk to tovel his kelim? 4 million. L'tfila, how far do you have to go to find a minyan before you can say I'm going to daven without a minyan? 4 million. U'letila sedayim, and for netila sedayim, how far do you have to go to wash your hands? Netila sedayim, before you can eat bread or in the morning. The din of Netila Sedayim, that is 4 million, arba million. Says the Gemara, Amar of Nachman Bar Yitzchak. Says of Nachman Bar Yitzchak, Evu Amra. This was taught in the name of Evu, meaning not, we had said before, Amar Rabbi Abau, Amar Shimon Lakish, not Rabbi Abau, but Rabbi Evu. So va'arba amar ba, and he said 4 dinim, not 3. There's an additional din, not just for a professional nida and for davening and for netilas yadayim. V'chad minau, and one of them is for ibud, is for tanning of leather. What's the din? Ditnan, the Mishnah tells us as follows: V'kulan she'ivdan, all of these dinim, if he tanned hides, or walked in them enough for tanning, taharim, they would be tahar. Chutz me'ar adam, except for the flesh of a person. What exactly is this din? So the halacha is that if you have an animal that was tameh, and then you stripped off the skin, and now you are going to, you want to tan the skin. At what point in time does the hide of the animal stop being tameh? So this is the additional din that Rabbi Evu taught, is also din of arba milin. If you walked on them, you stomped on them, that was part of the tanning process. The amount of time that it takes to walk arba milin, and that's true for all the skins of animals. Chutz mi ar adam, unless chalil, this would be terrible. Ar adam, the skins of a human being, that's always going to be tameh. That tumah is not diminished by tanning. V'kama, and how far is this? Kedei avoda. Kama kedei avoda. How far is this amount that we call the amount of work? Amar Rabbi Evu. Amar Rabbi Yana, says Rabbi Evu in the name of Rabbi Yana, kedei hilach arba milim, the amount of time that it takes to walk 4 milim. Amar Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Chanina, says Rabbi Yossi in the name of Rabbi Chanina, lo shano ela lefanav. This din is only taught lefanav, if you are walking in the direction of the shul, or the direction that you're going to be getting water. That's the direction that you're traveling in. But to backtrack, how far do you have to backtrack in your journey to make a minyan? You don't even have to go back a mil, not even 1 mil, not even 18 minutes. Amar Rav Acha, says Rav Acha, umina, and from this we learn mil hu de, you don't go back 18 minutes, you don't go back a mil. You do go back for anything less than a mil, which means halacha l'maisa, we pass it like this, that and we pass it, it's not a din in distance, but a din in time, is that if you want to know, should I daven mincha now on the road, or should I make it to shul? So the halacha is that if you are within 4 mil, that is 18 minutes times for 72 minutes, that you would journey in the direction of where you are going, the 4 milin, to make the minyan. Don't daven now, keep traveling 4 milin, and then you daven the minyan, then you go get netilas yadayim, and then you can eat your bread. But could you do it in the opposite direction? Yeah, you'd have to go backtrack up to 18 minutes in order to make a minyan, or up to 18 minutes for netilas yadayim. Be'ezras Hashem Yisbarach, we will continue with the next mission at the bottom of Mem Vav Amud Aleph. This next Amud will continue Be'ezras Hashem Yisbarach on Shabbos and catching up on Maseches Shabbos. Next week, Be'ezras Hashem Yisbarach, will be able to get back to our regular scheduled programming. Looking forward to learning with you then.